Hey everybody, Baldie here with video log number 5, I think it is, for Map Control Co. I did actually miss last week's vlog, apologies, just wasn't able to schedule it in with my busy schedule that I had over the weekend, which I will explain or discuss very shortly. The time currently is 2:42 PM on Sunday here in Australia, which I believe is Saturday night for you guys over in America. Let me just actually check, I do have my world calendar. Yep, 8 PM over in America, and Blizzard World Championship Series is on right now, or the tournament, whatever you want to call it. And I just did see the end of Idra versus Rain, where he did lose 3-1, and caught them bits and pieces because Day 9 and Tasters were casting together. What? Amazing. First time that's ever happened. I mean, as you'd expect in terms of looking at how they casted together, they were kind of talking over each other a little bit, but you know what, when you haven't casted with somebody before, it's bound to happen, and I don't really care because it was awesome. I gotta stop hitting my desk so it's no earthquakes here in Australia. We don't have earthquakes. We're actually very safe from any natural disasters except bushfires, but that's another story. But yeah, it was quite the spectacle to see that. So I'm very glad I saw that. Now I think the VODs are going to be free, or at least uploaded or anything. So if any of you guys did miss it, then I'm sure you can check out the video log, the VODs I should say. Sorry, it was on stream too, so that will be a good reference for you to go and check it out. So let's have a look at last week, Melbourne. So I'm from South Australia, and I flew over to Melbourne last week because I was course supervising on a personal and professional training and development weekend, or a course for a company called Landmark Education. And so I'd been preparing for this course for 8 weeks, doing preparation, putting people on an assisting team, making sure we have somebody to lead it, making sure we have all the supplies, everything, just like you would for a normal event. Although it's very rigorous, the structure of it. I know a lot of events that I've run, you know, you've had various steps throughout the planning process, but with this it's quite, you know, not strict, but it's got, you know, things that should be done by X weeks out, which I really like. And ultimately every single event ideally should have like a little manual kind of thing. Well, it was a 300-page manual which I had to read and go through, so quite detailed. But ideally you'd say that every event would be like that, but we don't live in an ideal world. Nonetheless, it was an enjoyable weekend. I was stuck indoors most of the time, when it was actually surprisingly quite a nice weekend over in Melbourne. Often the case, you see Melbourne having a bit of bipolar weather there. Sometimes it goes really warm, and for really warm it's not super warm because it's on the lower end of Australia, so you know, far away from the equator, getting towards Antarctica, all that fun stuff. And then suddenly like it will be sunny, and then suddenly like 10 minutes later there's this like storms. So it was raining on the Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, Monday and Tuesday were all really nice blue sky days, and so that was really cool. So I was over there, and there was actually, I got to meet a famous tennis player over that weekend, because people come in and pay money to be in these 3.5-day weekends, and I can't say who it is due to confidentiality and privacy, but that was pretty cool. Anyway, being able to meet and greet and have a chat with somebody who's been very successful in their chosen field. You got a little bit of tips and pointers on how they made it successful. Then I came back to Adelaide and straight into work for the Australian Baseball League. As many of you know by now, I work as the event manager and the ticketing manager for Adelaide Bite, which is South Australia's team in the National Baseball League. And so we had an exhibition match where Adelaide Bite versus an All-Stars team. So it was like the South Australian team versus the club team, like the best of the clubs. Which kind of, you could technically say, is the second tier of clubs, because the best of the clubs are already in the Adelaide Bite team. So, I don't know. Either way, it was a good event. It was a bit stressful from my end because it was like an event outside of the regular season. A lot of people didn't have tickets, like our sponsors, most of our members, etc. But we did allow them, or wanted to allow them in for free, and so there was a lot of like lists I had to manage and have people check in and give them tickets, and it was pretty intense. But nonetheless, we got it all sorted, so that's the main thing, and it was quite an enjoyable night in the end. And we all went out afterwards. Generally the case after each series finishes, the team actually, most of the guys from the team roll out to town, but I was more talking about the admin side of things. So I'm an event manager, we have an operations manager, GM, etc., etc. they all rocked it out to town, but I was exhausted and I actually declined the offer to go out, which normally I'm quite the party animal, so, or I shouldn't say party animal, I'm always willing to go out to town because I don't get to do it very often and drink up, have a good time. So I actually declined the offer and went straight to bed, which is must be getting quite old. I am starting to slow down a bit, but it's just because it was such an intense weekend over in Melbourne. There were like 15, 16, 17-hour days, so I've been catching up on sleep ever since. But that was cool. It went well. That's a good thing. Now, right now, as you can kind of tell, I haven't really been speaking much about StarCraft 2 because unfortunately I haven't, like this whole month, we're about halfway into November, so if you consider about halfway through October to now, I really haven't been able to do much in terms of casting, which has been really unfortunate, but such is life when you're doing all the things that I'm doing with my life, so that's so good. I'll get back involved as soon as possible. I'm trying to do things here and there. Now that I've finished that course over in Melbourne, it will mean that I'll have a little bit more time. I am currently preparing for another course in December here in Adelaide, so I'm starting to do that preparation, but I will have a lot more time available to me comparatively to the last month, which is exciting. And yeah, like I was about to say, we do have the Blizzard World Championships on right now as I speak, and I'm actually cutting into that time. So I don't know who's playing right now. Like I said, you know, Idra versus Rangers finished, and we have Luciferon versus Vortex currently being casted by Day9 and Tasteless. Amazing. And so I'm actually doing this video log before I shoot down to Barcraft because as a lot of you also know, I run the Barcraft here in South Australia, and so we were actually at Barcraft yesterday. Well, we did a Barcraft event for day one of the tournament. Was a kind of a pretty small turnout comparatively to what we normally get, but you could kind of expect that given it's the first day of a competition. You know, people have a lot of stuff that they're doing, and you know, although there's a lot more games to broadcast, so there's a lot more games and less downtime yesterday, the quality of the games in terms of people playing might have turned people off. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. It was an okay turnout. Tonight we're expecting a lot more. We're actually starting in 10 minutes, the Barcraft starting, and you might be wondering why am I there? Because my 2IC, well technically he's not my 2IC, we're both partners in this, we're both, I guess, the GMs or whatever you want to call it for this event. He's going to be setting up today. I set up yesterday and was there all day, and he's going to be setting up today, and I'm going to join him at about 4 PM. So after I finish this, render it, and get everything sorted, I'm going to jump down to Barcraft at the Metropolitan and have a few beers, watch some StarCraft, and good times indeed. So that's currently going. In terms of the quality of the actual event itself, yesterday was one of the tough things about the Barcraft is because there was 4 streams. It's like when a game ended, trying to switch between streams. And I personally don't use ad block, and I am against it. Not like against it like I'm going to be an activist against it, but I mean, this is ultimately how a lot of money gets put through the StarCraft scene on Twitch, like ads coming through, more for players when they're trying to earn money. But in this case, I'm happy to like go through a few ads here and there to help support the community, because you know, I know ultimately that's something that probably will come to effect for myself personally going forward, so I want to do my bit for them. But I tell you what, and this might not make any sense to any of you outside of Australia, but in Australia we're currently getting demolished by a Vodafone ad, and it's one of those really annoying ads where it's like, no, you hang up first, no, you hang up first, and I don't know, I don't really care. I'm not even going to go into it because I hate it so much, but every time I'd switch streams I would have to deal with that ad, and so I tried having all 4 streams up and like pausing them and stuff, but our internet here in Australia is pretty bad, so it's hard trying to juggle that. And on top of that, it turns out that the actual lag at the event is bad enough in terms of the stream. I thought it might have been on our end, so I was kind of stressing out. Like, as a Barcraft manager, you want to try and have the best quality stream and have it smooth and everything like that, and when it's starting to chop and cut, I was like, ah! But then I soon found out by looking at chat, they're like, lag, ruffle, worst event ever. So it made me feel a little bit better in that sense that it wasn't on my end. But we got through it, and I have a bit of a plan of attack for today to make it really smooth. So all good there. So I'll be jumping down there very soon. But ultimately, it's been a really cool event. I mean, regardless of the stream and the production issues and everything like that, there's been 6 games regardless, you can't deny that, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more games to come that are going to be sick. especially as we get to the upper side of the tournament. Good English from me, but we're about to approach the round of 8 within an hour or so, I'd say. So that's gonna be exciting. And I guess that really wraps up for this week. In terms of next week going forward, well, tonight actually is the SEA Masters Cup. I was offered to cast that, but I'm actually going to be at Barcraft managing that. So I have handballed that one over to Map Control Co. BaseTradeTV. So if you are watching this before, I guess, about 3 hours or 4 hours after this is posted on YouTube, if you are like, whoa, that's me, I'm in that zone, tune into www.twitch.tv/BaseTradeTV. And I know WCS is going to be going on at the same time, but you can have both going, or even if you just log into chat, have the viewers up and all that fun stuff, that'd be great. And then, who knows, after WCS is finished, there might still be the SEA Masters Cup going. We might be at the top end of the system there, so that'd be pretty cool. So make sure you check that out. But big shout out to Rifkin and Doom, who are going to be casting that. Excuse me. And yeah, moving forward next week, we have, for my work with Australian Baseball League, we're going into our second baseball series versus the Brisbane Bandits, which is going to be on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. And as a result, because of that, I can't actually do any commentary for IEM Singapore. Now, I'm going to give massive props to Enfeza, who is going to be the dedicated observer for IEM Singapore. He does a stellar job. He did the WCS Oceania, where he raised a lot of ears, eyebrows, noses, I don't know, whatever you want to say regarding. He did a good job, and it's really exciting to see him being an observer for IEM Singapore. Hopefully he gets more and more credit, gets more and more opportunities. He's definitely committed to it, and he spends a lot of time practicing, and I have a lot of respect for him, so big props to him. And it would have been awesome to be able to work with him, as I did get an opportunity or an offer to cast some of the IEM Singapore games from my home over the weekend, but because of work, and it's something that I can't get out of being the event manager, I had to decline. No, which is like the saddest thing so far in my progression of being like, well, casting's becoming quite a realistic goal for me inside of my 2016 running the biggest esports event in the world. So I'm going to take casting as far as it goes, and this would be a great opportunity to be in front of a worldwide audience, but alas, I cannot do it. So some other chap is going to have the honour of doing that from SEA, and I'm sure other opportunities will come up in the future. I just got to keep plugging away, and you know, that's it there. So it's a bit unfortunate at that end, but I'm excited nonetheless that I'm starting to kind of get those opportunities presented to myself, and it really shows to myself that I do kind of have what it takes to, or at least I have the personality that attracts people to what I do and how I commentate. There is a lot of work that I need to do on my end, and like I was saying, you know, I haven't really been able to cast a lot recently, so it might have impacted my performance nonetheless, but that's really exciting in that sense, and I'm looking forward to continuously developing myself, so you guys can come along for the journey and see how I progress. Make sure if you ever do see me commentate, if you do have any feedback, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Positive reinforcement is one thing, but constructive criticism is an amazing resource to be able to develop, because there's things that I do that I can't see that you guys can see, and ultimately that'll make me a better player, better caster, better commentator, a better entertainer all around. So thank you all of you so far who have given me constructive feedback and constructive criticism and everything like that, and do never hesitate to say something that's up, because I'll always take it as constructive, and if it's not, well, whatever, I don't care. So yeah, that's going to be next week, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the SEA players do over there in Singapore, and how Enfeza goes, so hopefully he does a good job for himself. And that's going to be really it for this week. Oh, actually, before I go, you might be wondering what this shirt is. Now, I did actually, you guys know I'm with Hiding Breed, which is a kind of like a partnership, two-man team setup that I've done with a man called Rhea, or a gentleman, whatever you want to call him. And he, one of our sponsors, is a manufacturing company for clothing. And so we've actually, this is like a test print of like the shirt, like a team shirt. As you can see, it's got my name on the back, Baldie, and our main sponsor, SE2SEA.com at the moment. And we are in final negotiations with a couple of companies, so they could be coming on board. We could be getting some more stuff going around here very soon. Now this is like, I'm thinking, because the grey, actually the grey I think looks okay. brown grey. I don't know. Yes, I guess it's a dark grey. Initially, I was like, it kind of looks a bit plain and bland, but I realized it actually goes with a lot of logos, and so I'm thinking of putting like another secondary color, like whether it's like a sleeve thing here, get a sleeve tattoo, no, like a design along here, or even like underneath here, or like I don't know, whatever, some cool design. That'd be cool. And then like having like a major sponsor here, and then on the back the major sponsors. Anyway, we're in the process of making a team shirt that's going to be rocking, and I will be wearing these shirts to any event that I go to, and that's why I'm going to wear it to Barcraft today, but also anything that I commentate, etc, etc. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to have a shirt and start that process, and it's all a bit of fun and games right now, and we're just doing what we can to keep expanding. And I mean, that's the great thing about Hiding Breed, is it's not like something that I'm stressed about all the time, like, oh my god, I gotta do all this stuff. It's like, alright, cool, it's like a fun little project that we're doing, and you know, we're getting a lot of support, and that's really cool. We'll be making an announcement next week on se2sea.com regarding somebody new that we have joining our ranks as a back office person. Excuse me. And we did just have one person join a couple of weeks ago, so that's exciting. And yeah, I think that's really it. I'm going to get out of your faces so that you can go and do whatever you need to do in your life. Thank you so much for all your support so far. Hopefully I'll be able to get back into casting very soon. I did apply for the After Hours Gaming League with one of my main man, Zane from SEA. So fingers crossed we get accepted, and that'll be a good opportunity for me to, you know, do a bit of casting here and there. And then, oh, earthquake! I'm just joking. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So peace out. Next week, I guess I'll try and do this vlog probably around Wednesday next week, which is when we're normally meant to do them. I have a little bit more time, so I'll do it before I start my next series with baseball, and that's all gravy, baby. And yeah, shout out to se2sea.com, and that's it. Goodbye. Time for some Barcraft. Let's get drunk. Let's get drunk. I didn't say that because I'm responsible. I'm actually probably not going to drink a lot today because it's Sunday. I'll have a cheeky few drinks just for all you guys. I'll have a cheeky few, but I'm not going to go over the top. I'm going to be driving home tonight, so don't worry. You don't have to email my sponsors saying I'm irresponsible, and if you do, shame on you.